It's time for AggroChat, the official podcast of the Tales of the Aggronaut blog and stalwart gaming community, where we talk about stuff and things, and the stuff about the things, and sometimes gaming. I'm Belghast, and let's start the show. Hey everybody, it's that time again, time for another episode of AggroChat. This is episode number 12. Today we've got a slightly different lineup. Ash and Kodra are currently traveling because they're off to visit Tam. And today we have the infamous Warrenwolf filling in for someone, also known as Waffles. Say hi, Waffles.
Hi. And you also had that totally backwards.
What?
It is Tim and Ashgar going to visit Kodra.
Yeah, well, they're all traveling to go visit someone, and I want to say that the purpose of this episode or this trip was in part to have a toaster intervention.
Much needed toaster intervention.
Yeah, like for those who don't know, like if you've listened to our podcast for very long, you know that Kodra goes robot-y every so often. It is not because of his internet connection. And for years, I thought it was his internet connection. Apparently, he is playing the game literally on a toaster and doing everything on a toaster. So, and the thing is Kodra does well for himself. He can get a new machine. He just hasn't. So I think Tam and Ash were going to visit him to try and, coax that along. Because the thing is where he lives, I know he has a micro center, and I want to say he's also got fries, so he has no excuse to be running on a crummy computer.
Fries is the best.
Fries is amazing. Also, this week we have Dallian. Say hi, Dallian.
Hello.
Always happy to have you come in on the podcast whenever we can. I, of course, am here, and we also have Ray. Hi, Ray.
Hi.
Okay, so now that we've gone through the slightly modified lineup, welcome, Warren, obviously. Let's start this off by picking on you. What have you been playing this week?
Wildstar and Wasteland.
Awesome.
Wasteland 2 to be exact.
And you are totally the person that tipped me off that I should totally check my Kickstarter to see if I also had access, and I do. And we'll talk a little bit about that later. Because Wasteland 2 is pretty awesome. Dallian, what have you been up to?
I've been playing the Mighty Quest for Epic Loot, and I started Guild Wars 2 back up.
Really?
Yeah, it's free.
So the funny thing about that is, and Ash posted an article about this this week. We just came to the realization from listening to old episodes that pretty much when we have any discussion about things we don't like, it always ends up getting brought back to Guild Wars 2. So I find it funny that you're playing what is essentially this podcast whipping boy.
I think actually reading that last article was what made me think about it again.
Really?
Yeah.
So it spurred you on. That's funny. How are you liking it?
Well, I started up a warrior, but I've only been playing it for like an hour.
Okay, so you really haven't even had a chance to get a feel for it again.
Yeah.
Anything else this week?
Not that I can think of. Just really been watching Netflix and while playing a Mighty Epic Loot game. I can't remember the name of it.
Speaking of Netflix, what the hell is with them changing their icon? I couldn't find it the other day on my phone. Have you noticed that?
Honestly, no, because I watched it on my PS4.
Okay, yeah, because their icon is no longer red; it's like white with red text, and I totally could not find it the other day, just looking for it. Then I noticed, oh hey, the icon's updated. Ray, what have you been up to this week?
Well, I started off the week piddling around in the Lego minifigures online again. I was in the beta or the alpha or something like that way back when.
And the testy thing.
Yeah. And it was cute and I had fun, but then I kind of maxed out everything that I could do and did all the encounters and fights and gave a bunch of feedback and there was nothing left for me to do, so I stopped playing it for a while. And then you were all, hey, this is charming.
It is charming.
I tried it up again. It is.
I've played quite a bit of it. I guess, that segues into me. I played quite a bit of Lego minifigures this week. It's kind of like an entry-level Diablo game. I guess, but as you get into it, some of the boss fights are really freaking challenging. And it feels right for that whole Diablo type feel. Like, a lot of people are playing Marvel superheroes, and that's a cool game and everything I've heard of it, but Lego just kind of fits my style more, and each of the individual characters is so vastly different that I'm really enjoying it. Like, I'm playing characters that I wouldn't even have thought I would like. Like, one of the characters I really enjoy that I picked up was the waiter, and it's a goofy character. Like, I totally didn't expect it to be a damage dealer, but he does this whole thing where he flips the bottle up in the air and then hits the mob over the top of the head with the serving tray. And that was his main attack. And his secondary attack is to open up the bottle and spray wine all over everything, dealing damage. So it's a cute little combo.
Yeah, I've found a groove again. When I first started playing, my favorite character was this DJ, and he would have a ricochet disc, a record for his regular attack, and then would drop a boombox for his special. And it was just fun. It fit my personality, and I don't have him anymore. And I was struggling to get into it again because I was trying to play the Alien Avenger, and he's really squishy.
Yeah.
Until I realized that you could switch between all three of your characters without any cooldown, and their specials were on separate cooldowns as well. So I have this thing where I'll start off with my mermaid, I'll use her tidal wave, I'll immediately switch to the Academy Award lady, drop her star underneath the mobs right where they're going to get knocked up by the wave, and then flip to my Alien Avenger and just shoot them down from range.
Yeah, you have all kind of synergy with your combo of characters, and I really don't have that going on. Like, basically, I have 3 characters that I play completely separately. Like, I've got my Roman warrior that I play if I need to melee or if I need to hit a bunch of stuff at the same time, and then I play my warrior maiden if I need to do ranged. And then finally, I've got like a defender that's a auto mechanic guy. And mostly I only really use him when either I need to escape, because his secondary is that he can hop on a motorcycle and run away really quickly. And also when you're in combat, you can build things as though you're a builder type. So it keeps me from ever having to have a builder. And Dallian and Warren are probably glazing over at this point because they don't know what we're talking about.
I actually played the alpha for that game.
Really?
Like one time.
I'm guessing you didn't like it if you only played it one time.
Well, like I said, it was alpha. And so you know how alpha goes.
Yeah, it was pretty rough back then.
It was pretty broken.
The first time I logged in, I read through the first box, and then I was like, okay, what do I do now? And I thought the game crashed and was broken, and there was just this one mysterious thing that wasn't standing out at all on my screen that I was supposed to click on.
It's definitely improved. Like, I remember seeing screenshots of it back then, and it feels like it's just a much more polished experience. Yeah. I don't know how far you can actually go, because, I feel like I've only scratched the surface, because last time I played, I made it to the space area, and I haven't really played since. So I don't know how many more worlds are available after that.
Well, back in the alpha, you could only get through the pirate worlds, and once you killed the boss who shot the cannonballs at you, and you had to knock them back with the sails.
The machine, yeah.
That was the end of it, basically.
Okay, so yeah, I don't know how far it's expanded, but it definitely sold me enough to go ahead and pick up a membership for a while. Because it's cheap in MMO terms, so
yeah, they knew what they were doing with that. I got tired of trying to click on the little glowy things, and it's like, you can't go in here because you're not a member.
Yeah, that's the only I feel like this game is almost entirely playable for free if you can deal with not being able to go places. Because the bulk of the game is fine, but every so often there's these little dungeons that you can go in only if you're a member. So yeah, it totally got me hooked there. That and the fact that you get minifigures each month.
Yeah, I hope they add more.
Because I'm bad about buying the Lego minifigures in real life.
I've been having to avoid Target for that specific reason.
Yeah, like I want so bad to pick up more packs of the Simpsons ones. Speaking of Target and minifigure like things, last time I was there, and this is just an aside because Dallian's on here. They had the Transformers minifigures in like the Constructicons and the multi-part robot packs on clearance, so you should totally check it out and see if yours have them.
Don't tell me that.
Okay, so other than Lego minifigures, I've played a bunch of Wildstar off and on, but I kind of feel like I'm a little bit high center right now. Once I dinged 26 or so, I'm kind of piddling. Like, I'm not really questing seriously. We ran a dungeon the other night, and that was really fun. But at the same time, I kind of feel like I did a bunch of research, and the frustrating part for me right now is I feel like I only have about half of the tools that I need to do what I need to do. Like, there's a bunch of amps that you get later on that feel like they're crucial to tank on an engineer, and I just don't have them. I can't even get them, even if I dumped all my points into the tree to get to them. So I don't know. I'm kind of frustrated that it feels like a lot of the really good abilities, and I know Ash was feeling the same way with his medic, to where there's just a bunch of abilities that he feels like he really needs to be effective in a group that he can't get yet. Have you guys had any experience with that so far?
Not me really, but I only take the one time, and I don't know that I would seriously call that tanking.
Well, like, one of the abilities that I need pretty bad is Repair Bot, but Repair Bot is like on that top tier. I don't know if that's the fourth tier or the third tier or whatever. Third tier. But yeah, I mean, like, I have to dump all these points into it to even get up there, and I don't think I physically can yet. And the problem with that is that as an engineer, so much of my mitigation comes from my shields, and my shields won't regenerate unless I don't get hit for a while. And if you're tanking, that's not ever going to happen.
Yeah.
So either I need a medic healing me so that they can heal my shields as well, or I need Repair Bot, which like generates 12 shield a second or something like that regen. But I just don't think I can even get the Repair Bot yet.
By the way it looks, each one of the classes, like, with the double tiers, basically it seems like each one is supposed to complement the other, or medic complements engineer, blah blah blah.
Right.
So it would make sense that would be the way it should follow.
Yeah, and I think it'll be fine. I mean, yeah, especially I just need to run with a medic healer. Like, I guess that's the short answer until I can get some of the higher level abilities. I'm still definitely enjoying the game, even though I feel like I'm kind of stalled out questing wise.
I wouldn't worry about that. Just explore other parts of the game. I was sitting at level 30, 31 all week, and I didn't really play. And anytime I got on, I would just go grind some challenges to try and win some prizes or play around with my house.
Well, and honestly, right now I'm kind of going through one of my funks where I don't really want to do group activities. So I've been logging into Wildstar, playing for a bit, and then going off and playing other things. Like, I picked up Saints Row 4 this week, and I've been playing quite a bit of it, and that game is insane. It's like, it makes my inner 13-year-old so happy. It's kind of like, I don't know if you guys have played the Saints Row series. Warren probably has, at least.
Which one are you playing?
Number 4.
Yeah.
I love that game. Everything about that game just cracks me up. It's like Grand Theft Auto was kind of cool, but Grand Theft Auto also took itself super seriously most of the time.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's pretty much Grand Theft Auto with a sense of humor, because, it's the one thing that Grand Theft Auto was missing throughout the entire game, and quite frankly, that's where it shines.
Yeah, and it's... Saints Row is like a parody of a parody. It's kind of like the Scary Movie of video game. But it works. It works. I mean, the Saints Row 4 is this insane game where you've ended up to be the president of the United States, and then the aliens invade, and just like the Matrix, they capture you and put you in a simulator. So it's like this whole parody of the Matrix at the same time as a parody of every superhero movie. It's glorious. It's hilarious. And I've been playing the hell out of that, and I've been enjoying it quite a bit. Other than that, Wasteland too. I'm really enjoying it. What are your thoughts so far on it, Warren?
It really does bring me back to the original Wasteland, the old days of strategy and turn-based RPGs. It really is a nice return to it.
It's actually really tough too, and that's what has impressed me. Is it's not that easy. I mean, you can definitely screw up and do the wrong thing. And I'm already seeing there's certain strategies that seem to work better than others. I ended up going with a pre-built squad just so I could get in and play quicker. So I ended up going with Bear, the Native American female tracker, and Cold Eye, the Russian sniper, and whatever the big dude with the spiked baseball bat was, as well as Pills, the combat medic. And I just accidentally ended up with what seems like a balanced party.
Which it sounds like it. Until you get really used to the stats and the skills and everything else, and you get an idea what the heck's going on. The pre-builds do function probably better than what you would normally see with the pre-built.
Yeah. I mean, they felt like they were pretty good. Like, the only thing that I seem to be missing right now is I have no way to unlock anything, which would be something I would probably fix on another playthrough. Like, Cold Eye, for example, has repair, which is cool, and I'm sure somewhere down the line I'll need to repair a machine. But right now, I would much rather have lockpick. The biggest thing for me is trying to keep enough ammo, especially since, I don't know about you, but I end up staying out in the wastes quite a lot. And I haven't really made it through much of the content yet, but I never played the original Wasteland because I wasn't that into PC games at that point, but I played the hell out of Fallout, the original. And this game definitely brings me back to the Fallout, Baldur's Gate era of computer RPGs.
Well, Wasteland is the father of Fallout.
Right. That's why I was originally interested, is that, Fallout was the game that kind of became the logical successor of Wasteland. Only difference being, until Tactics, you didn't really have the squad-based combat in the same way that you do in Wasteland. And I'm surprised at just how many people you can end up with. Like, right now I've got 5 in my party, and that gets a little crazy at times when figuring out all the turns.
Oh yeah.
But it's fun. Like, it's crazy fun. And the biggest thing that I've learned, and I learned this quickly, is put up a defensive position and wait. Wait for crap to come to you and not the other way around.
Yeah,
because I mean, it's like you go out into the open and then you'll just get sniped, and that was the first way I lost a character. But it's really good, and I mean, it feels pretty complete for, I guess this is still a beta?
Yep.
Have they announced a release date for it?
August.
Okay. Yeah, I can totally see it being ready by then. And I'm actually surprised at just how much voice acting is already in.
Oh, absolutely.
The big thing is like, it's an adjustment to remember to read everything again.
Well, it's also an adjustment to actually have to pay attention to how things are set up and laid out. Usually used to the real time, constantly moving, doing stupid things, back and forth. And this, you've actually got to put some thought back into the game.
The only problem I'm having right now is it feels like at times I'm fighting the camera angle, and I'm constantly moving my camera around with WASD and Q and E to try and rotate it to see if there's something I've missed, which is kind of cool because you can't see everything all at once. So if you're zoomed out to where you can see a lot of the map, you're not seeing the fine details, so you're going to miss a box, or you're going to miss a thing you can loot, or something you can click on. They've definitely done a really good job with that engine.
By the way, if you don't have anybody who's going to open things up, you're really going to hate the fact when you start seeing safes.
I've already encountered 2 or 3 safes, and it frustrates the hell out of me. Which is why I noticed that, yeah, that's a definite shortfall of my group. Because I probably could have gotten rid of the tracker and put someone that had lockpicking in its place. But, oh well. I mean, when it actually launches, I will probably create a custom party, and hopefully I'll be able to figure out all the shortfalls of my playthrough with the defaults. But I'm definitely enjoying it because, it feels like Fallout, where you just wander around in the wastes and come across cool stuff. And, like, I've already encountered a ton of bandits, and for the most part have been successful in beating them. It was one of those random encounters that ended up getting a character killed, and I had to load from a previous save. But, like, right now I find, like, the Gila monsters way tougher than the bandits.
Any wildlife is tougher than bandits.
Yeah, they're faster and they can do way more damage, and they seem to have better accuracy and everything. But I mean, I guess it's giant mutated wildlife, so makes sense. I remember rad scorpions in Fallout used to be insane.
Yeah, bunnies are insane in this game.
Oh god, the bunnies. Yeah, I just like probably 30 minutes before the podcast, I finished the room of bunnies in the biostation. That was insane. These are not the friendly, cuddly bunnies. These are the Monty Python-esque bunnies of doom. And they will hop up to you and just start munching on you, and it's insane. Like, and at that point, you get surrounded, and the game has a cool mechanic where if something is up in your face, the character feels pressured, and they have like a 21% chance to miss additional. So it gets really freaking hard to combat stuff up close. I don't know if that's the same with melee weapons or not, but
it has to do with whether or not it's long-ranged versus short-range.
Okay.
Or melee. So if you've got long rifles, they're going to be feeling pressured.
Okay. Yeah, like, I guess that makes sense because the character that I've got a sickle and a pistol on doesn't ever seem to feel pressured. Because I guess technically a pistol is a short-range weapon.
Correct.
So, big thing happening this week, now that we've talked about various stuff we've done, is the insanity that is the Steam sale. Have you guys fallen victim to the Steam sale yet?
Nope.
Yes, so much yes.
No.
Okay.
This year I have forbidden myself from going there and looking at the sales.
So, like, okay, so what all have you picked up, Dallian?
Oh man, Sherlock Holmes game, some adventure, like some point-and-click adventure games, just like really cheap stuff. I can't remember every title I've picked up. I've bought like 10 games.
It feels like to me that it hasn't been as big of a deal this year for me, at least.
Yeah, no, I haven't seen any like major titles really that I wanted. Everything I've bought was like flash sales, like $1, $2.
Yeah.
Bell, the problem is you own half of Steam already.
I know, that is the problem. But I guess maybe that's just it. Maybe that I've picked up everything that I really wanted to this point. But it just seems like this year it's not that big of a deal. And I mean, I've picked up a few things, and they've been pretty cool. Like the thing that I've noticed this year is I've actually bought things for other people. You know, like somebody mentions something that they, have never played this game or that game. So I've picked it up and gifted it to him, because it's, like Borderlands 2. I had a friend that just commented that she'd never played Borderlands 2, and that's a travesty.
Yes.
Everyone must play Borderlands 2.
I still have to finish the first one.
Borderlands 2 is way better than the first one. But it's, okay, so it's like $5. I will gladly, spend $5 so that someone can experience this game that, I personally love.
It's very well designed, and the story's fun.
So I don't know. I feel like I'm doing a lot more of that altruistic thing this year than I have in past years. I did get one gifted to me that I totally wasn't expecting. 7 Days to Die. That game is brutal.
Is that the one Tam was playing?
I don't think so. It's a zombie survival game, but it's kind of like it's a voxel game. So think of it like a primitive landmark, but it's got this insane crafting system that's extremely difficult to do. You start off basically spawn somewhere in the world next to a burnt out car and like a trash pile. And from those two items, you can scavenge a few pieces of junk that you can break down into raw resources and maybe, just maybe, survive long enough to find enough resources to make a weapon so that you can, fend off the zombies that are roaming around. And as far as the spawns go, think in terms of Minecraft at night.
Yeah.
It's brutal. Like I started off and I was trying to sneak around, and there were twigs and brush and stuff like that makes noise when you step on it, and I damn near jumped out of my seat the first time I hit a bush that had dry leaves on it. Because I'm like, oh no, what was that? Oh, it's me. But the thing is it actually makes noise and triggers zombies. So not long after I hit the bush, I had a friend following me around, and it was like this big, burly lumberjack zombie that I had to punch in the head until he died. And it took 20, 30 punches to take him down.
Sounds like Left 4 Dead meets Silent Hill.
It's insane. I mean, just the difficulty of it. But it apparently has a really robust base building component, to where it's almost like a tower defense, where you build a base and then the zombies attack each night, and you have to survive the night. I don't know, it's weird. The only thing I like about it is that unlike all of these other games like DayZ, you can play on a private server, or I mean like a local server, so that you don't have to play with other people, or you can play with other people if you so choose, but you're not stuck on a server with a bunch of griefers. It was kind of cool. Like, I totally wasn't expecting it, but I enjoyed it quite a bit.
That's one of those games that's on my wish list that I know it was on sale a couple days ago, but I just didn't get around to getting it.
The interesting thing about the Steam sale this year, for me at least, is, I don't know, I wrote a blog post about this, that it just kind of feels really formulaic. Like, the stuff that's on sale is the same stuff that's been on sale for like the last 5 or 6 sales. And I guess that's the weirdity about having a digital catalog, is that nothing ever really goes off the shelves.
Well, to that, there's also the issue of other publishers now trying to get into the Steam business.
Yeah, I guess you've got Origin, you've got Uplay. At least Uplay still sells on, or Ubisoft still sells on Steam, but then you have to deal with their stupid Uplay DRM.
Dumb.
I don't know. I mean, like, it doesn't feel like there's been quite as many blockbuster titles for amazing deals this year around. Like, I can remember the first year I ever did the Steam sale, like, I picked up an entire publisher's catalog of like 50, 60 games for $20. And I just don't see those kind of deals anymore.
That's because you own half a Steam, Bell.
Yeah, but I'd still see the sales on the store. Like, I mean, they would still be advertised, but I'm not seeing that they're advertising that sort of thing anymore. Like the insane, like, entire publisher's catalog type deals.
Yeah, I haven't noticed any during the sale time, but I mean, they occasionally pop up, just occasionally.
And I guess for me, like, the sales that I'm seeing aren't that much better than the same weekly deals that they already do. Or maybe I'm just not paying close enough attention, but
I think you might have hit the whole point right there, is that they are constantly doing catalog sales on a regular basis.
yeah.
I mean, they're constantly trying to sell THQ and all their stuff regularly.
Yeah,
How many times can a person buy Dawn of War and everything that is associated with it, or anything else that THQ did?
Right, and that was totally why I bought the THQ catalog, was so that I could have Dawn of War and all the little DLC that came out with it. And it was cool. Like, I've played those quite a bit, but I guess, I don't know, like, other than Bethesda, there's not a lot of publishers that have a huge back catalog like that someone would want to buy.
Well, a lot of the ones that have the huge back catalogs are now trying to get away from Steam and do it themselves. They've seen
True.
exactly what kind of profit they had rolled in. You know, when Steam said, hey, here you go, everything's like 90% off, buy it.
Yeah, but you gotta, I mean, those publishers have to be making money when those sales happen.
But they were, and they saw what kind of, like, you know, opportunities they were given. But then now they can basically create the same package, but at what they feel is a better markup. Instead of being like, you know, hey, you can buy all of, you know, Square Enix for $70. No, hey, you can buy all of Square Enix for $150.
I guess. But at those prices, I'm not even intrigued to nibble. And I don't think anybody really is.
Just throwing the numbers out.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I feel like that's the frustration I have with all these people trying to do it themselves, is I don't want my stuff fragmented across a bunch of different network clients that I have to keep installed. You know, like, at any given time, you know, you need Uplay and Origin and Steam running on your machine, and there's no more room for any more. I'd rather not have Uplay and Origin. I mean, it's, you know, like, there's a lot of companies doing that now. You know, Blizzard has their own custom launcher. Tryon is trying to start selling third-party software as well with the Glyph system. So it's basically one client that lets you install everything. The Good Old Games has one of their own as well that they're working on that's going to be an optional one, but it's still going to be there. It just feels like that's too many clients to have installed.
I wholeheartedly agree.
And at least for me, I am far more likely to say screw it to whatever deal someone else offers and just buy it on Steam because I don't want it on another platform.
Well, that's the whole thing. Your whole catalog is in one location with Steam instead of having to fragment it back and forth. You know, you also have like an entire social network built up with Steam where you've got your friends listed on there. You know, you don't have to go through jumping through hoops to keep up or, you know, talk to or play with your friends.
Right, and the games that have Steam support, usually multiplayer is a breeze. Like, I mean, you just click on the list of which one of your Steam friends you want to play with. And that's a big plus, and I don't want to try and build that same list on Origin. I don't care to. I don't know. I mean, like, for me personally, I'm willing to pay as much as $10 extra for it on Steam just so I don't have to go to another platform. But usually it's the Steam copy is just as cheap. Or, you know, you have Green Man Gaming that's just going to sell you a Steam key anyway.
For even cheaper.
Yeah, for even cheaper. So, I don't know. I just don't see how it benefits me, the player, to have all these different platforms. But anyway, Steam sale this year has been
Lackluster,
yeah. That's the takeaway I have. I mean, there's still some cool stuff out there. I'm kind of wishing I'd got in on the Divinity Original Sin when I know Tam and Ash picked it up at a discount, because that's also looking amazing. And right now, I mean, thanks to Wasteland, I'm kind of in the mood to play a lot more of those classic style PC RPGs. I'm kind of craving that. And that looks like the granddaddy of them all. Because Ash did a nice little write-up about it, and it looks really challenging and actually have some pretty beneficial multiplayer. I don't know if you guys have followed that at all.
No, unfortunately I haven't.
So another thing that happened this week is that supposedly Blizzard let a whole bunch more people into Warlords of Draenor.
Yeah, I was one of them, and I looked at it and went, why? I have nothing against WoW these days, but I haven't been active in it. Why would they put me, or, yeah, I didn't even sign up for it.
Well, you probably still have the opt-in. I've been in the Friends and Family Alpha for a while now. I don't know, like, so I haven't really played the Alliance content since it went in. in part because one of two things is happening right now. Either the current client has some serious stability issues, or they really let enough people in that it's causing the game to crash nonstop. But right now I've been trying to play it just from a standpoint of, I was in friends and family through somebody I know, so I kind of feel like I'm devoted to testing purposes. But I just got to say right now, and I think I said it last week, I'm just not feeling it. It feels like it feels very much like a game of its age. It's trying really hard to be interesting, and it's doing some cool stuff, but
it's turning into the grandfathers trying to speak Ebonics.
Yeah. That's really what it feels like. And I gotta give them credit because they're trying to do interesting things. But the problem is right now, Blizzard and Warcraft franchise in general is like the Titanic. And, it can't turn on a dime. It can't undo all the things that, feel outdated in the course of a single expansion. So I just don't know if they're adding enough fresh to the game to make it worth it while for the people that have left to go play Wildstar to give it a look.
Wildstar or any other game that's out there. I mean, you've had an aging player base that have basically come into this and started going, what have I done with the last 10 years of my life?
Yeah. Well, I feel like each time one of these games comes out, there's not been a game that's a WoW killer, but each one of it erodes at the base a little bit. There's a handful of people that go over to this new game and never come back to WoW. And I feel like that over time that all of the stuff that they have done, like the permanent server merges and the ability for the entire battle group to quest together, is all an attempt to make the game feel like it's got people playing. And I feel like that there's eventually going to reach a point where it really does feel dead inside. I know the server we all came from really does feel far more empty than it used to. And they've got a planned merger with the Scryer's server, but I just don't know if that'll be enough to make it feel vibrant. And the other thing, and I've said this before, is inside the blogosphere and the Twittersphere, I'm seeing a lot of people go over to Wildstar this time that had been like, World of Warcraft lifers. So I just feel like this time, maybe people are just getting tired of WoW.
I think there's a lot about Wildstar that reminds people of that fun and that excitement and that wonder of when you first played World of Warcraft, but it's more contemporary. It's got better graphics. It's got a more updated combat system.
Yeah, it really Wildstar out-wows WoW. Yep. That's what it feels like to me, at least. That it's got all the things that WoW had, but just newer. It's newer tech. It doesn't feel like a 10-year-old game at this point. But, WoW definitely feels its age, especially if you've been playing newer games. And it's all the little, quality of life things that modern games have that WoW is still missing, like mentoring. Player housing.
Well, the problem is that for the longest time they've backseated all of the player recommendations, all the questions, all the wants, and they've always said, well, we really don't want to deal with that. And players have finally said, well, this game X has given me all of the things that I've wanted for the last 10 years that I've been playing.
Yep.
And they're giving it to me in spades. Why should I bother playing this game when all you do is tell us we don't care. We're not listening to you except for when you complain about your class, and even then we're not really listening.
Well, and another thing with WoW is it feels like Cataclysm, Pandaria, and Warlords are really kind of letdowns on the story side as well. I'm not sure what's going on Alliance side. I haven't played it enough, but the Warlords orc side, Horde side is definitely dances with orcs. I hope you like orcs, because that's what you're going to be playing with. And there's really no mention of the other parts of the Horde. It's just all about the orcs. And I don't know, do we really need another expansion where it's all about the orcs?
Well, apparently everybody's playing Horde because that's who won the bike off. And I guess that's their idea of taking WoW to the next level by focusing on the faction that they feel everybody's playing.
I don't know, but the storyline so far that I've encountered has been kind of boring. It's laced with all sorts of nostalgia, that creatures or characters that you met in Burning Crusade that you're meeting again. But I don't know. I don't know how to really sum up the feeling, but it kind of feels like The Expendables, for example.
Mm.
Expendables is totally this fan service movie where you get to see the 80s action heroes out for one last adventure. And that's
4 movies later.
Yeah, that's what Warlords feels like, is this, we want to see these people that we used to love out for another adventure without really doing anything that interesting.
Then they should be more focused on the writing so that way people aren't going, this is just something else rehashed that we've seen 100 times over.
At least this one doesn't appear to be really centrally focused on the Green Jesus.
Oh, thank God.
It's about a lot more than just Thrall. Because really, I'm so sick of Thrall, it's not even funny. But I don't know. I think the people that are still into Warcraft will probably like it.
Well, people are still playing EverQuest.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything that will ever kill WoW. Because EverQuest is 15 years old right now, and it continues to churn out 2 expansions a year.
Wow, really?
Yeah, seriously. And they're not just small expansions, they're significantly sized expansions. But yeah, I don't know. I just have mixed emotions about Warlords. Anything else going on this week that's of major significance?
Well, during the time that we were talking about WoW, I did a count and I have bought 16 games on Steam sale. That is including DLC.
That was one of the things that's one of the things that I did do on the sale, is there's a couple games I caught up on DLC. Like, I just picked up en masse a bunch of the stuff for Borderlands 2. All the little piddly things that you can pick up for Borderlands 2.
Outfits.
Yeah, like I didn't have the Psycho Pack. There was a bunch of stuff that I did not have.
I got
Dear Globbo, what were you thinking?
All I know is I got all 3 BioShock games for like $10.
And that's totally worth it, because all of those games are great playthroughs. So, speaking of shooters, something weird is happening to me. For years, I've been a diehard mouse and keyboard person, but here lately, I've kind of gotten used to playing shooters with a controller, and I'm kind of digging it.
I think they've just done a better job of, developing the aiming for the controller.
Maybe. But yeah, it feels more natural than it used to.
Also, I think that the way that they've been developing the controls is a little bit better. It's not as cramped. It's not as, awkward to use. It actually feels like a lot of the controllers these days feel like, you could actually use them.
Right. Destiny, for example, I thought it felt really good to play Destiny with a controller. So, I don't know, I'm actually starting to play PC games with a controller. Like Far Cry, and I'm actually playing Saints Row 4 entirely with a controller.
Now you're just talking crazy talk.
No, it's insanity.
Now, I would say if I was playing Saints Row 4, I would play with a controller too.
Yeah, I tried it with the mouse, and it just feels cleaner with the controller.
I can see that with driving the vehicles.
Especially the vehicles, yeah. And a lot of these games have so much aim assist that really you don't need to draw a tight bead on somebody's head to get a headshot. So the controller is perfectly adequate.
Yeah, not unless you're playing competitive play.
Right. And I'm never going to play competitively. I'm interested in Destiny mostly as a really cool MMO shooter. So I doubt I will play much in the PvP arenas. But yeah, that's just weird to me because, like, for the longest time, I have been a diehard mouse and keyboard is the only way to play a shooter person, and I've actually gone back through and played some BioShock with a controller, and I kind of like it. Okay, so we've just got a few more minutes, especially when we consider editing to do. Ray, I know you're dying. Give us an update on the craziness of League of Legends.
Well, NA is continuing the tradition of becoming EU. Right now, the standings after today is Dignitas is in first place, CLG, LMQ, and TSM are all tied for second. Cloud9 is just below that, and then Complexity, Evil Geniuses, and Curse are all tied for last. Complexity beat Cloud9 today, which was really crazy, and EG beat Curse. Everybody's just taking turns, but it's interesting to play or to watch.
C9 was taking the lol bat to everybody over the last, couple of seasons, so it's about time that, people took it to them. But I'm wishing they would get their collective, heads out of their posteriors and get back to playing the way they were.
Yeah.
Probably the only team I would ever root for in League is Curse, just because I love Curse, the website. I have no opinion on, anything about the team, but...
I like Voyboy. He's got this real awesome personality, and he's always positive and in a good mood, and he's a good role model for a lot of other League players. My problem is I like a lot of the different teams right now, and it's hard to root for one whenever two of your teams are playing against each other. It's like, oh, I think I'm going to be disappointed no matter what.
Yeah.
Oh, man. So... in the Complexity game today versus Cloud9, Robert X. Lee played Tristana, and Pobelter, their mid, played Yasuo. And they had this mechanic that they were trying to pull off, and they actually did it once towards the end of the game, and it pretty much sealed their win, where Robert on Tristana rocket jumped into the middle of C9, used his ult to pop somebody into the rest of the team to where all five of them were knocked up. And then Yasuo popped his ult and they just destroyed them. And the announcers were like, "It's Insect X Lee!" I was mute.
Speaking of League, I did not participate in it, but did the League night go off this week?
Not to my recollection.
Okay.
Just because of all the circumstances that evening.
Yeah, because that was the night that our voice server went down. So yeah, I now remember. Okay, so anything else of note that happened this last week that any of you guys want to talk about before we wrap things up?
Can't think of anything.
Okay, well, thank you, Warren, for stepping in, because we love our waffles.
My pleasure.
And Dallian, thanks again for stepping in, because, at this point, you're just an honorary member.
No, I like coming on.
Because I don't know how many of these this has been, but this has got to be 5 or 6 now.
I've stopped counting.
Yeah. Okay, so, Dallian, where can we find you?
Twitter, I'm Dr._Hannah. Same thing on Nook. My blog is Dr. Hannah at WordPress. And I think that's it.
Cool. Warren, any contact information you want to give out?
I don't really use much.
Yeah, other than Steam, but yeah. Ray.
I'm at littlerayofsun.com. Still trying to churn out content. I didn't get my chibi done this week because I had 15 other projects I was trying to work on. But hopefully I'll get it here tonight.
Yeah, because there's kind of a crazy, exciting project that a bunch of us are working on. But I don't really want to go into details yet for that one.
Top secret.
Top secret. Me, I am, as always, the author of the Tales of the Agronaut blog at agronaut.com. I'm at Belghast on Twitter and Belghast on a Nook. And that's about it. Thanks for joining us again. Hopefully you guys have a good rest of the weekend. Good night, guys.
Bye.
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 Bye.